Star of the award-winning film Tsotsi, Presley Chweneyagae, is reportedly dead. We'll be delving into the story that unfolded with regards to his death on Tuesday, on this very moment, and also moving on to James Bond franchise. The owners of the franchise are likely to lose the license to the name Bond, James Bond. We'll be taking a look as to perhaps the repercussions if it happens that they lose the name. This and more is what we'll be delving into right here on this very episode of the Film Mandate on YouTube. My name is Papa Otu. Stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Film Mandate, episode 48. And this is the platform where we bring to you new movie news, reviews, and reactions, both from the African front and the international scene. Indeed, I want to thank you very much for joining me for this very episode. Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm bringing you. I'm the bearer of bad news this very episode, and we've the star of. For those who were, very observant or watched the film Tsotsi, which was released in the year 2000. In the year 2000, we were marveled as to the electric performance of one star in the film, and that is Presley Chweneyagae here, whose image you can see on the screen. He dazzled us on screen, and apparently that was his first time performing, and he won. I mean, the film itself won the Best Picture award for the Academy that year, and it was really exciting for Africa all over the world. I mean, for Africans all over the world. Unfortunately, he is said to have died on Tuesday, and condolence to his family and all his loved ones. Yeah, so let's read a story. An article published in France 24 says that South Africa's Tsotsi star Presley Chweneyagae dies. South African actor Presley Chweneyagae, star of the Oscar-winning South African film Tsotsi, has died at the age of 40, his agent announced Tuesday. That's not what we wish, but well. Chweneyagae gained international fame in 2006 when the movie set in the criminal underworld of Johannesburg's sprawling township of Soweto scooped up the Best Foreign Film Award. Yeah, so that's the category, pardon me. It is with profound sadness that we confirm the untimely passing of one of South Africa's most gifted and beloved actors, Presley Chweneyagae, at the age of 40. The Mlasa Artist Agency said in a statement on its website. It did not give the date or cause of death. Presley was a powerful and authentic voice in African cinema, and his career spanned theater, television, and film, it said. In his most famous film, Chweneyagae plays a Tsotsi, a colloquial term for thug, who tries to do the right thing when he unwittingly carjacks a vehicle with a baby in the backseat. The 2005 film is based on a novel by acclaimed South African playwright Athol Fugard, who died in March this year at the age of 92. It's a story about hope, it's a story about forgiveness, and it also deals with the issues with that we are facing as South Africans: AIDS, poverty, and crime. Chweneyagae said in 2006 as South Africans celebrated the Oscar. But at the same time, it could take place anywhere in the world, he said. Chweneyagae was born in 1984 in the small northwest province town of Mafike and joined drama classes at the age of 10, his agent said. He also had roles in the blockbuster Mandela Long Walk to Freedom 2013, based on Nelson Mandela's autobiography, and South Africa's award winning television series The River 2018. Yeah, so it's so sad that we've lost Tsotsi actor Presley Chweneyagae here. I hope I'm pronouncing the surname right, but indeed, it's a loss for Africa as a whole that she's still very young, has passed on. It's really difficult for me to bring bad news. My desire is not to, you know, make you sad this very day, but I wish there was better news to have brought. And we can't forget such people who really put Africa on the map one way or the other with regards to film. And it's unfortunate he's left us so young. And we wish the very best for the family. And he's done a couple of films. And I thought that with the announcement of his passing, perhaps we take a look at some of the works that he has done. So I took the opportunity to go onto his IMDb page so that we can find something to talk about. So um, yeah, on his IMDb page, his life period or time has been updated on the page, and in the short is a trailer of I think his last film, if I'm not mistaken, or last project that he worked on, I number Josie Gold 2023. Yeah, so let's scroll down to see further some of the works that he has done. So we have The River, which was a TV series. So this is his filmography as to his acting career. And we have the River TV series, which started in 2018 to 2024. And it spans 1,720 episodes. And then number Josie Gold, which is a film, was released in the year 2023. And that was his last film project. I don't know whether there are any other projects that he worked on that has not been released yet. So we move on to The Number, which was released in 2017, and then which he starred in one episode. Okay, so yeah, one episode was released in 2017. So I think that was way back then. So that was one episode he appeared in 2017. I don't know whether he was made a regular when it was re-released in 2023. I don't know whether that's a feature film. It was adapted into a feature film or still remained a TV series. So moving on, we have Avenged 2013, and then Mandela Long Walk to Freedom, which starred Idris Elba. Um, yeah, Idris Elba. So that also blew him up a little, but he wasn't the main character in the film. Moving on, we also moved to Zama Zama, and there. So let me just recap. In the number or even the river, he starred as Cobra or Thuso Mokwena. And also in the number, he starred as China Boy. And then I number Shoes. And Avenged, he stars as Shoes Moshosho. I hope I got the name right. And also in the Mandela Long Walk to Freedom 2013, he starred as a militant prisoner. And Zama Zama, he starred as Joseph Firi. And also The Gentleman, which was released in 2011, was Sifo. And Africa United in 2010, he acted as the character Egg. And then State of Violence, he acted as Boy Boy, which was also released in 2010. And then Minda City, he starred as Don. And therefore, I mean, for those who do not know, he also had a brief um, career as a director, and that's the film he directed, Minda City or Menda City. And then also more than just a game. He acted as Max Shyness or Max Shiness 2007. And then When We Were Black, he starred in 4 episodes of that TV series from 2006 to 2007. And then what brought him into the limelight that we so loved and cherished was Tsotsi, which was released in 2005. And he was the titular character. He played the titular character as Tsotsi. So yeah, this so Minda City, he was both the director and producer of that film, director and producer of that film, which was released in 2009. 2009. So yeah, this happens to be the body of work that he did, and honestly, he will be sorely missed. He will be sorely missed. For those who watch Tsotsi, it's been a long while since I watched it, so to to be honest, I don't remember all the scenes in the film, but his performance was very gripping. And for those of us who watched it around the time, it's almost like we were watching the World Cup and we're rooting for our team from Africa to win. And then, fortunately for us, it won the best foreign film for that year. For us, it was the best picture. It was amazing. It was the best picture that we have ever seen. To see a black African from the continent, a film of that nature to win the best foreign film was so exciting to us. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the director of that film is Gavin Hood. I think so. Yeah, yeah, Gavin Hood, who is also a South African filmmaker and actor. So he directed that film to have won that award. So it was really exciting for us to see that movie win the award and also bring to bear such a wonderful talent as Presley Chweneyagae here. And for those who do not know, it is said that he was named after Elvis Presley because that happens to be his mom's favorite musician. So he named his son after Elvis Presley. That's why he bears the name Presley to his surname. So it is indeed sad that we've lost such a stalwart of a performer. We would have hoped to have seen him in more international projects, but unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But regardless, you can still see a number of his projects on Netflix, and it wouldn't be it would be an honor, I think, to honor his legacy to watch a number of his projects here. So indeed, he will be sorely missed. He will be sorely missed, and I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my condolence to the family, to loved ones, to Africans as a whole who are deeply um, impacted by the loss of this illustrious son of the continent, illustrious son of the continent. So, indeed, it is not something good that I mean, I wish I would have brought you something more powerful, something more encouraging this very day, but unfortunately, that's not what I brought to you. And yeah, we would indeed remember the family in our prayers. So, moving on from that to the second story, one of the most popular franchise on the earth is James Bond, and in one form or the other, I know that majority of people have watched James Bond. Even if you haven't, I'm sure you have heard of it. So, in today's episode, it is indeed an interesting story to take a look at, considering the fact that the Bond franchise recently exchanged hands in terms of creative control. So Jeff Bezos and Amazon, or to be specific, MGM, which is now owned by Amazon, sat down with the family that has the creative control over the franchise, and bought the creative control for them so that they can move forward without any restrictions whatsoever. And they paid a whopping amount of close to $1 billion just to wrestle the creative control rights from the Broccoli family. And to have received this, we I mean, it is something that is quite interesting, and I'm sure perhaps Jeff Bezos and his team are working tirelessly with Amy Pascal and the law to ensure that this doesn't happen. So we'll read this article, which was published in the Irish Times, that says that James Bond franchise owners seek more time to defend control of the 007 spice name. With 4 years since the last James Bond installment, a legal challenge has been launched arguing intellectual property rights have lapsed. And this is written by Max Sweeney on May 27th. So the owners of the multi-billion pound James Bond franchise have requested more time to mount their defense to keep control of the super spice name in Europe after a legal challenge to their trademark rights across a range of goods and services. In February, The Guardian reported that a Dubai-based property developer had filed claims in the UK and EU, arguing that lack of use meant various protections had lapsed around James Bond's intellectual property, including his name, his 007 assignation, and the catchphrase Bond, James Bond. Nearly all actions relate to the merchandise of goods and services under the Bond name, which can be challenged after the 5 years of non-use. Joseph Kleindienst, I hope I pronounced it right, an Austrian who is building a $5 billion luxury resort complex called the Heart of Europe on 6 artificial islands of Dubai, has argued that trademarks have been commercially underexploited. Daniel Craig's last outing as 007 No Time to Die was released in 2021, and with no announcement yet of his replacement or timeline for production of the next film, the franchise is on track to beat the previous longest gap between installments of 6 years and 4 months. The Bond trademarks are registered to the US based company Danjak, which controls the rights to worldwide James Bond merchandising in conjunction with the UK-based production company Eon. So Danjak had an initial 60 days to file its defense of the trademarks after the challenge. It has done so with the UK Intellectual Property Office, but has requested more time to file in the EU. As a general rule, any initial unilateral request for an extension that is received in time will be considered appropriate and will be granted, said the EU Intellectual Property Office in a filing extending the deadline. However, it added that it was highly unlikely to grant a further extension beyond mid-June unless there are exceptional circumstances. Danjak, who also co-owns the copyright to the existing James Bond films, along with MGM Studios, which was acquired by Amazon for $8.5 billion in 2021. Days after the report of Mr. Clendiest's legal challenges, it emerged that Amazon had paid more than $1 billion to gain full creative control of the James Bond franchise from Barbara Broccoli and Michael Gene Wilson, the longtime stewards of the Bond films. With creative control, Amazon now has the power to move forward with new films and potentially TV spin offs too, without approval from the two British American heirs to the film producer Albert Kirby Broccoli, who had overseen the integrity of the character originally created in 1953 by the author Ian Fleming. In March, Amazon confirmed that Amy Pascal and David Heyman would steer the next Bond film, although no release date or lead actor has yet been named. Ms. Pascal has experience with the Bond series in her previous position as Sony's chair of film, overseeing Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, and Skyfall. She also had producer credits on the latest Spider-Man series. Yeah, so I'm so sure that Jeff Bezos is not happy about this at all, and that is not something that, as an owner of a production house and having spent such huge amounts of money to acquire the company that owns the right to it, and even gone further to have shelled out over $1 billion to just wrestle the creative control. It's something not easy to hear this. I mean, on the day of this news or information. So I'm very certain that they are working on it tirelessly, because most franchises are such that without the necessary legality surrounding it, you are likely to lose things as the name here. But the good thing is that they are not losing the franchise, James Bond itself. It's just the name that is in contention at the moment, seeing to the fact that most often than not, trademarks, if I'm not mistaken, has the period of 10 years to elapse when you register for it. And James Bond being a franchise, I agree with the creators to have gone ahead to file perhaps a patent or a trademark for the name to ensure that nobody uses the name James Bond for any other thing else, or 007 for any other thing else apart from them. And the James Bond name itself spans beyond just the films they make, but it also applies to the merchandise that comes along with the films they produce. So it's indeed uh, it will indeed be a good idea for the owners to ensure that the name is kept in the MGM family, for only for the films itself and the franchise, because and the merchandise, because you wouldn't want any other property whatsoever contesting when the films are released, with the name itself to be contested. And I agree, because any other major company or franchise in the world wouldn't want that confusion, the brand confusion, as to whether James Bond is something else or it's still the film and the merchandise. So I'm sure they'll be fighting tirelessly to ensure that the name James Bond and the 007 trademark is kept only for what people have known it to be. And James Bond is one of the biggest IPs you can ever find, if not even in terms of the revenue. In regards to the brand itself, it is really popular. For those of us in Africa, we have known James Bond from way back. And maybe let me take this opportunity to show the number of films that James Bond has um, has produced over the years, and it is indeed voluminous. I think in total, the James Bond franchise has produced 25 films in all, grossing over $8 billion. So that is how much it has grossed. It has grossed over $8 billion, and then made about or over $5 billion in terms of revenue with regards to its merchandise. So the James Bond property as a whole is worth over $13 billion, and that is quite huge. With Daniel Craig's, I think 8 or 7 to 8 films span, contributing a lot of that money to the James Bond franchise. So Daniel Craig is really very instrumental to the success of the franchise. So on your screen, you have a list of the films that James Bond has produced over the years, and it dates back to 1962. So you would understand why, at all costs, the family or the owners of this franchise would ensure to keep it to the family. And this has spanned over the period of 60 years and 63 years to be specific. So definitely they wouldn't want to lose the trademark name James Bond 007 to any other person or any other thing else. So yes, they would indeed fight it with tooth and nail to ensure that it's done. So currently, as it stands, they, just as the article said, they have the rights to the James Bond 007 trademark now in UK, as they filed for it and they've secured that. But now they have to file another in the EU territory to ensure that it is secured. So It is indeed something I'm sure they'll be working on it tirelessly to ensure it stays within the family. Yeah. So let me just go through a brief of the titles that were produced from way back in James Bond. You have number one, then Doctor No, produced in 1962, From Russia with Life, with Love, 1963, Goldfinger, 1964, and then Thunderball, 1965. So it meant that the very first four films were produced back to back in quick successions. You also had You Only Live Twice, 1967, and all these five films starred Sean Connery. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, you have 19. It was produced in 1967 with a brief stint by an actor called George Lazenby. Yeah, and then you have Diamonds Are Forever, which brought back Sean Connery for the 1961 production. And also Live and Let Die has 1973. That introduced Roger Moore, and he stayed on for The Man with the Golden Gun in 1974. And then moving on to 1977, The Spy with Love. And also you have Moonraker, 79, For Your Eyes Only, 1981, Octopussy, 1983, and then the last of the Roger Moore James Bond films, is A View to Kill. It's A View to Kill. You also had a brief two installment franchise for Timothy Dalton, who showed up in the 1987 film The Living Daylights, License to Kill, 1980. And then moving on, we move to Pierce Brosnan, who starred in four films. That is Golden Eye in 895, Tomorrow Never Dies in 97, The World Is Not Enough in 99, and then 2002 had Die Another Day. Also, then it was taken over by Daniel Craig in sorry 2006, Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace in 2008, Skyfall in 2012, Spectre in 2015, and No Time to Die in 2021. So yes, instead of, I mean, rather it's six films by Daniel Craig, six films by Daniel Craig. So that is what has transpired over the period of time, the 25-year period that the James Bond franchise have been produced. And the issue of them not being able to name a specific date of release and a main actor, that has resulted in the contesting of this trademark. Regardless of of the main actors being named or not, it would have been contested anyway, especially when the trademark is left to lapse. But I'm sure, I mean, given the the mode of business with regards to film franchises, it meant that if they had mentioned or named the one who's leading a franchise, definitely they would have made sure all these legalities were sorted out before proceeding to have perhaps begun production in the first place. So it means that because of the time that has lapsed for about 6 years and counting, the rights or the trademark had not been renewed at the time. So indeed, it's going to be worrying, and I'm sure with this happening at the moment, Bezos and his team at Amazon and MGM will be moving very fast to name who will be the lead or who will be the new James Bond. I mean, names like Aaron Taylor Johnson have been put out there, Henry Cavill, and also Idris Elba. But as it stands now, nothing have been done about it. We've not heard anything concrete yet. So I'm sure in this year in particular, I'm very certain that they would be naming who will be taking over from Daniel Craig, and then see perhaps a very tentative date or timeline as to when the production would begin and perhaps a release date. So yeah, I think nobody would want to lose an, a part of a franchise after having shelled such monies for to acquire the property and even the very company that owns that property. So yeah, I'm sure Jeff Bezos is working tirelessly to ensure that this is kept in the family. Yeah, so That is it. That wraps up my two stories for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this, and thank you very much for joining me for this very episode. I really appreciate it. Episode 48. We are still going strong, and I'd like you to leave your thoughts and views in the comment section below if you have any questions whatsoever. And I'll be coming your way once again tomorrow with another episode of the Film Mandate. I'm Papa Otu. See you soon.